In this podcast episode, Lex Fridman interviews Bassem Youssef, an Egyptian-American comedian known as the Jon Stewart of the Middle East. Youssef fearlessly criticizes those in power, even when his job and life are at risk. He discusses his experience of being in a restaurant during a bombing in New York in 2016 and the conflicting reactions of people based on their backgrounds. He talks about the pressure he faced when he was called to speak on a show about a controversial topic and how he felt a sense of duty to speak up for the oppressed. Youssef's decision to speak out against injustice is fueled by his personal connections to the Palestinian cause. His wife is half Palestinian, and he feels a responsibility to speak up for her family members who are directly affected by the conflict. He also feels a sense of moral obligation to speak out against the dehumanization and oppression of Palestinians by the Israeli government. His comedic approach to addressing serious issues allows him to navigate difficult conversations and challenge the status quo. Youssef highlights the role of propaganda and misinformation in shaping public perception of conflicts like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He discusses how sensationalized and exaggerated narratives, such as the portrayal of decapitated babies, are used to manipulate emotions and justify violence. He emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and questioning official narratives to uncover the truth behind complex geopolitical issues. Youssef delves into the dehumanization of oppressed communities, particularly Palestinians, by those in power. He criticizes the Israeli government for viewing Palestinians as lesser beings and dispensable, leading to a lack of empathy and a disregard for their humanity. Youssef draws parallels between historical atrocities such as the Holocaust and the ongoing violence and discrimination faced by Palestinians in the occupied territories. Youssef discusses the role of technology in modern warfare and its impact on the devaluation of human life. He highlights the use of drones, surveillance systems, and AI in military operations, which distance perpetrators from the consequences of their actions. He raises concerns about the ethical implications of remote warfare and the dehumanizing effects of technology on both perpetrators and victims. Youssef emphasizes the power of words and propaganda in shaping public opinion and justifying violence. He criticizes the manipulation of language and imagery to evoke fear and hatred towards marginalized communities. He warns against falling into the trap of propaganda and urges listeners to question official narratives and seek out the truth behind the rhetoric. Youssef reflects on the deep-seated hate and trauma that underlie conflicts like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He shares personal anecdotes of meeting individuals who have experienced violence and loss, leading to a profound sense of pain and hatred. He acknowledges the complexity of intergenerational trauma and the challenge of overcoming deep-seated animosities in conflict zones. Youssef advocates for empathy and understanding as essential tools for resolving conflicts and building peace. He emphasizes the importance of listening to diverse perspectives, acknowledging the humanity of all individuals involved, and working towards reconciliation and justice. Youssef delves into the origins of anti-Semitism, pointing out that the narrative of Jews being responsible for the death of Christ has fueled hatred towards them for generations. He also mentions how Jews were targeted during the Dark Ages and the Crusades, leading to widespread discrimination and violence against them. The stereotype of Jews being wealthy and involved in usury further contributed to the animosity towards them. Youssef discusses the impact of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a fabricated anti-Semitic text that spread conspiracy theories about Jewish control and domination. He highlights how this false narrative has been used to fuel hatred and justify discrimination against Jews. He emphasizes the dangerous consequences of such propaganda and how it has perpetuated anti-Semitic beliefs. Youssef acknowledges the failure of countries, including Arab nations, to provide refuge for Jewish people during the Holocaust. He recognizes the moral responsibility of all nations to offer assistance to those in need, regardless of their religious or ethnic background. He reflects on the missed opportunities to prevent the atrocities of the Holocaust and the importance of learning from history to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Youssef discusses the asymmetry of power between Israel and Palestine, with Israel having significant military and political influence supported by the United States. He criticizes the lack of accountability for Israel's actions and the ongoing oppression faced by Palestinians, particularly in Gaza and the West Bank. Youssef questions the intentions of Israeli and Palestinian leaders in seeking a resolution to the conflict. He points out the reluctance of Israeli leaders to engage in meaningful compromises and the challenges of finding moderate leadership on both sides. He emphasizes the need for leaders who prioritize peace and are willing to work towards a two-state solution that respects the rights and dignity of both Israelis and Palestinians. Despite the bleak outlook presented by Youssef during his debate on Israel and Palestine, he acknowledges the importance of finding sources of hope and solutions. He highlights the need for international intervention, particularly from Arab states and the United States, to push for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. He emphasizes the role of diplomacy and collective action in addressing the root causes of the conflict and promoting reconciliation between the two sides. Youssef shares a personal anecdote about a book he acquired the rights to, titled The Muslim and the Jew, which tells the story of an Egyptian doctor who saved Jewish lives during the Nazi era in Germany. He reflects on the historical relationship between Arabs and Jews before the establishment of Israel in 1948 and the complexities of identity and belonging in the region. He highlights the shared history of coexistence and cooperation between Arabs and Jews, emphasizing the need to acknowledge and learn from these narratives. Youssef attended a Catholic school in Cairo before transitioning to public education, where he continued to feel like an outsider due to his financial limitations. He excelled in school and sports, using his talents to gain acceptance among his peers. However, he struggled with his social life and relationships, feeling inadequate compared to his classmates. Driven by societal expectations and limited career options, Youssef pursued a career in medicine, ultimately becoming a heart surgeon. Despite his success in the field, he harbored a deep-seated dislike for the profession, feeling traumatized by the demands and pressures it placed on him. His choice to pursue medicine was influenced by a desire to have a solid excuse for not engaging in a robust social life, as he felt inadequate in social settings. Youssef's life took a significant turn when he stumbled upon a comedy show hosted by Jon Stewart on CNN in 2003. Despite not understanding the political references, Youssef was captivated by Stewart's humor and timing, sparking a newfound interest in comedy. He began watching Stewart's show religiously, immersing himself in the world of political satire. The Arab Spring of 2011 marked a pivotal moment in Youssef's career, as he found himself at the forefront of a revolution in Egypt. The uprising against the regime of Hosni Mubarak led to widespread protests and eventually the ousting of the dictator. Youssef started a political satire show that quickly became popular. His show garnered millions of viewers, and he became known for his sharp criticism of politicians and the media. His humor resonated with the Egyptian people, who were hungry for a voice that challenged authority and spoke truth to power. Youssef faced backlash and threats from the government, particularly during the time of the Muslim Brotherhood's rule in Egypt. He was interrogated and arrested for his jokes, which were seen as insulting to Islam and the president. Despite the risks, he continued to use his platform to criticize those in power, including the military, which eventually led to the cancellation of his show. After leaving Egypt due to safety concerns, Youssef moved to the United States and faced a new set of challenges. He struggled to adapt to the stand-up comedy scene, especially in a second language, and often bombed at shows. The pressure to succeed and the expectations of his fans weighed heavily on him, leading to feelings of insecurity and self-doubt. Youssef found that the language and cultural differences between English and Arabic presented unique challenges in his comedy. While English allowed for a more unifying experience among diverse audiences, Arabic dialects varied greatly and required him to navigate different references and sensitivities. He had to carefully construct his jokes to appeal to a wide range of Arabic speakers, while also addressing the limitations of language and the cultural taboos around profanity. Youssef recounts how he auditioned for a role in a Superman movie, where he was initially selected for the part. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, he later learned that he had lost the role. Despite feeling disappointed initially, Youssef reflects on the situation and realizes that he does not harbor any bitterness or anger. He acknowledges that he is doing well in his career and does not need to dwell on missed opportunities. Youssef emphasizes the importance of not playing the victim in challenging situations. He shares a personal anecdote about facing difficulties during his early career, including being detained in airports and facing hecklers sent by the Egyptian embassy. Despite these challenges, he chose not to victimize himself and instead focused on his work and personal growth. He believes that seeking sympathy or attention as a victim is not conducive to personal development and success. Youssef delves into the topic of religion, highlighting its dual nature of providing comfort and guidance while also fueling ego and entitlement. He discusses how religion has been used throughout history to justify actions and beliefs, often leading to conflicts and divisions among people. He acknowledges the role of religion in humbling individuals before a higher power, but warns against using religion as a tool for superiority or discrimination. Youssef expresses his concerns about the actions of the Israeli government and their impact on global perceptions of Jews and Judaism. He believes that the Israeli government's policies contribute to rising anti-Semitism and create a negative image of Jewish people worldwide. He criticizes the use of historical persecution, such as the Holocaust, to justify oppressive actions, stating that it disrespects the memory of those who suffered. Despite these dark themes, Youssef remains hopeful for the future of humanity. He credits younger generations with the potential to bring about positive change through increased awareness and activism. He emphasizes the importance of ongoing dialogue and the need for continued efforts to challenge power structures and promote accountability.